Welcome to the Mulberry Book Drop, and it's my turn again, which only seems fair because it's my birthday month.
Happy birthday to you. Okay.
Oh, thank you. So Sarah, tell me something good.
Guys, this past month has been amazing. I have really exciting news. I was accepted into UCF, so I graduated with my AA degree, so now I got to step on into the bachelor degree world.
Yes, I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. So I'm still waiting to hear back from one more school to see if I got in, but I did get into UCF. So let's hope that next month I have more exciting news for you guys. But what about you?
I feel like I should have had balloons here for you or something. Well, it feels like forever ago, but when we recorded a few episodes previous, remember I had said my oldest got his license? Mm-hmm. So like right after that episode dropped, I took my middle child to go pick up his permit. So I actually have 2 kids in wheels now. And then like weeks later, my youngest turned 13. So they're all teenagers.
Oh, you have all teenagers now.
2 of them are mobile. And I remember when mobile meant like that they were crawling and walking, but they don't make baby gates for cars.
Oh, no, they should. That would be nice because I got rear-ended last week.
You did, but you're okay. And I'm so grateful.
And you guys can laugh. It's all right. I'm laughing. We're good.
We're laughing now.
Yes.
So normally you guys have been used to us doing a little check-in with our city manager, but since he's one of our biggest library and podcast advocates, we thought we would take this time to thank our listeners. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to share a couple things that you guys have sent to us. So we have a email here. And it says, "You ladies do a great job on your podcast. I listen to it on my Sunday walk, and your topics and book information is wonderful. Keep up the good work. I wish you did one every week." And that is from our friend Chris. Thank you, Chris.
And then we have another email from our friend Matt. And it says, "Hello, library podcast ladies. Longtime listener, first-time writer. I love the recent podcast on outliers and thought I would write in my own choices for outliers," which, guys, we love that. That's amazing. His liked books was House of Leaves. I loved House of Leaves in a way I did not think I would. It was the first and only book that worked my brain in a very different way and added this tactical feel to the book as I had to rotate and go back and forth through the pages to read the hidden portions of text. Ooh, interesting. The story was creepy and mysterious. Plus, how it brings the reader into it just tickled me, and there has never been anything like it since. Disliked book was Malorie. Mm-hmm. This is the second book and sequel to Bird Box. I hated this book so much, and the writing was so different from the first book, I double-checked to make sure it was written by the same person. This was the only book I threw across the room when I finished it. I then jumped online to see the reviews, and people loved this book. I love the description of how he is with these books. Liked movie. It's a Japanese live action movie. Hentai
Kamen.
Kamen, yes. Thank you. Just a ridiculous imported movie. This is a Japanese live action adaptation of a long running manga series. It was destroyed by everyone. I loved it. I have watched it multiple times and I will continue to watch it. Disliked movie, It's a Wonderful Life. Maybe it was one of those, I saw it too late in life. I just don't care for the film. I know people love this movie. I just don't. Great job on the show, and I look forward to the next episode. P.S. Bethany has totally seen a Final Destination movie. This needs to be a correction for the next episode.
Okay, so full disclosure, this is my husband. And I just have to say, I remember him reading House of Leaves because I tried to read it and I couldn't do it. And he literally was like turning the book as he was reading it.
Yeah. How no.
Yeah. And then the movie he's talking about, if you want to know more about it, come see me at the library and I'll tell you. I'm not going to say it on the podcast because we're going to keep it family friendly, but it is hilarious. We have watched it a few times. Haven't shown it to our kids yet, but it is really funny. And I do remember that reaction to Malorie. He told me not to read it. So, and I have not seen Final Destination. I talked to him about this. I don't even know who was in the movie. I don't remember any of the cast. I think the only reason I remember the part that you mentioned with like the logs is because of the previews, like the commercials and the memes. but I've never seen it.
And full disclosure, if you can't tell by this email, Matt is hilarious. Like he's funny. He's a good time. So shout out to Matt, because I know you're going to be listening to this.
I love you, honey. All right. And then we also just want to say, too, we actually have had a couple of visitors to the library recently. So I had one person who had come to a couple of our book clubs, and she found out about us because of the podcast. And she was so sweet when she came in and mentioned, and she was like, oh, wait, I know you. And so we had a wonderful discussion, and hopefully she'll be able to come back. I know people are on vacation and stuff right now, but it was so awesome meeting her. And then tell everybody what happened a couple days ago.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was amazing. So Bethany and I think we were both sitting at the front desk, and a mom and two of her kids walked in, and she looked so familiar, but it's one of those, I mean, we work at a library, we see people. And I was like, hi, like, how are you? And she's like, oh, we're good. And then she was like, and we're like, do you need any help? And she goes, well, I'm actually from the Little Bus Books. And when I tell you, Bethany and I immediately said, we got so excited because... So Little Bus Books, her and her family run. It's like this little,
like a pop-up bookshop.
Yeah, pop-up bookshop, and it's incredible. She does have an Instagram page, so I highly recommend going on it. And it's literally at Little Bus Books. So her and her family, like, they took a little tour of the library. They checked out some stuff, and she found us because she loves to listen to local podcast shows. So it was just super cool. And she actually mentioned us on her Instagram page, which is amazing. But her and her family are incredible. They go out into the community and always have the book bus everywhere. They're at the farmers market in Lakeland on Saturdays a lot, and we are hoping to soon have them come to some of our Mulberry events, maybe in the future. So I highly recommend going and visiting them. It is so cute. And I just, and it's books.
I love them. They were the nicest family. Yes. They even let us take like a little photo with them. Yes. And so yeah, definitely find their Instagram and go visit them. They're just amazing. Yes. It was so fun. And she knew our names.
She did. Guys, I'm not gonna lie. If we felt a little famous for a minute. A little bit. I'll take it.
It was awesome. All right. So that was fun. Thank you. And then we also are still on our Oceans of Possibilities. I know by the time this comes out, it'll be like halfway through July, so we'll have a couple weeks left. But this theme has been just so much fun. Oh, yeah, it has. So what was your favorite thing so far this summer?
My favorite is I actually took over the teen book club this summer, and the first book that we read, which was Fable, I think I mentioned it in the last episode, I absolutely loved. Like, I loved it so much. I actually have the second one sitting in my bedroom right now so I can read it. That has been my favorite. And we've played like a really fun game called Jamaica. And so the book club has definitely been my favorite part. What about you? I think
my son liked that game because he crushed it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he crushed all of us twice. Yeah. Not once, twice.
Well, so my favorite thing so far this year is actually all the new faces. We have had so many new people at our library this summer. So like new library cards. We've had kids visiting their grandparents that are trying out our programs and keep coming back. And just, I have met so many people this summer. And then we've also had the people that we really only get over the summer that are coming back because they can't get there during the school year. And so to see like my little friends, like how big they got from last year is just like, I could cry.
Well, there's a family this morning that came in and I was like, because I hadn't seen them yet. And I was like, hi guys. Yeah. So I'm not going to say their names. But it was really cool.
And then for an event though, I would have to say the Pirate Adventure Show.
Oh,
that was a blast. I'm really hoping that maybe we can get Showtime for Kids. His name was Jim. I'm really hoping we can get him back maybe next year. I guess he does stuff for all ages, but he's like, balloon animals, comedian, and some magic tricks. And it was just, I mean, I know this is nerdy, but it was a hoot. I loved it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, all right, so we're going to get into why we're here, and I was debating a little bit about what I wanted to talk about today, and at first I was thinking about bestseller lists, because those were a huge deal when I worked in the bookstore, and so just out of curiosity, if you had to guess, what do you think was the most checked out item in our library for like 2021 and so far in 2022?
Okay, so you did ask me these questions, so I came prepared. I came with my guesses, and I feel really strong about this.
Okay, what'd you come up with?
I'm just going to say James Patterson books.
It was a trick question.
What?
It was our seeds. It was the vegetables.
What?
Yes, our highest checkout is actually the seed library, the vegetables specifically.
Wow, I was so wrong.
I know.
Like it wasn't even in the right category.
No, but I think that was a really good guess.
Thank you.
Okay, in 2021, what do you think was our most checked out DVD? Okay. And I did give you a hint. I told you it was a television series.
You did. So I'm going to say Doc Martin.
Oh, good guess.
But wrong.
Yeah, it was Elementary.
What?
Yeah, that Sherlock, little spin-off. What? I was surprised. Yeah. Okay, so what about...
I don't accept it, but I'll take it.
What about for 2022 so far this year?
Okay, this one I put just because it's so popular, at least within my family and friends, and I've seen it come across the desk a lot. I would say that I'd feel good about this, but since I've been wrong so far, it's probably wrong. I'm going to say Yellowstone.
Wrong. This really surprised me. It was Murder, She Wrote.
What?
And I was like, have I checked that out yet?
I literally, don't know that I've seen it actually really come across this year.
Yeah. So, okay, you might do better with this one. Most checked out video game from 2021.
I'm scared to say. I'm going to go with Mario Party.
Oh, that's a good guess, too.
No. What?
It was Pokemon Shield.
No.
Yeah.
Because we have 2 copies of the Mario Party game.
We do.
I don't accept this answer.
Okay. Here we go. 2021, most checked out book.
And you gave me a hint. And you said that we've mentioned it in the podcast.
We did.
And the book that I put has not been mentioned in the podcast. I put Where the Crawdads Sing.
Well, we did mention it in our podcast.
Wait, am I right?
But it wasn't that. It was Virgin River. Oh, Sarah's so mad right now.
I'm done. I'm done. Fine.
Okay, 2022, most checked out book so far this year. I think the hint I gave you is that it was mentioned on the podcast.
Right. And
I'm going to give you another hint to give you a chance, just in case, because I don't know what you picked.
Because it's wrong.
It was suggested by a listener.
Oh.
Shout out to Jennifer. You and I both read it.
Is it the Book of Lost Names?
It's the Book of Lost Names.
I love that book.
I had to give you a win.
Yes, thank you. Because I put Run, Rose, Run, and I was like, we haven't even mentioned that.
Oh, yeah.
And
but I don't... That's just started going around.
Honestly, so I think it's because it came in on hold for me. And that's why I picked it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's so interesting. Well, I was thinking about bestseller lists, but then I started thinking library users look for items differently. So where at the bookstore they were always coming in for, what was popular in the media or highly advertised, I find that we get more questions like, I'm in the mood for a good mystery. What would you suggest? Or I need a new author and I like thrillers. So is there someone you can think of? So what sort of general questions do you get at the desk?
The first one that came to my mind is, where's the bathroom?
Very popular question.
Which all the way down to the right. That was really the first question I could think of. But probably the next question I could think of is, I like this author and I've read all their books. Do you know anybody similar?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I get that a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do love when people give us those kind of open questions because I feel like it opens the conversation.
Yes.
So then it's not just about a book or an author, but it starts with DVDs or my favorite one is, oh, you like cookbooks too? We have a club for that.
Right.
And then they come for cookbook club. But the other thing too is, do you ever get that feeling when you're reading something, as you get to know our patrons and stuff, and all of a sudden you're reading a book and you're like, oh my gosh, Jane Doe would love this book. I can't wait until I see her again to tell her about it. Do you ever get that feeling?
So it's kind of funny because usually if I'm reading a book, I think of you. I'm like, oh, Bethany would love this book. Oh, Bethany would hate this book. You literally are the first person I think of. Aww. So you're special.
That's so funny.
I don't think of just anybody, guys. But honestly, it's typically after I finish the book and then I'll think, oh, I don't think this person would like this, or I think this person would love this.
Okay.
Kind of thing. So, yeah.
It's so fun getting to know people and their, reading habits and things. But so you're probably wondering where I'm going with this. So
yes.
One of the questions that we get a lot is more like genre specific. Mm-hmm. So we spend a lot of time, I almost do it daily, but definitely weekly, where you're showing people spine labels.
Yes.
Right? Like they'll come in and be like, do you have any like horror books or Christian fiction or even supernatural? And so you take them to the section and you show them what the spine label looks like. You know, oh, you'd be looking for this little magnifying glass, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought that I would stick with a genre for today. So okay. I'm curious, what genre are you asked for the most?
You know, I feel like I really have to think about this because I don't know that I've ever... I would probably say like maybe a tie between thriller and romance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to pick a genre that we don't even have a sticker for.
Oh?
Yes. And it's actually a genre that I was almost like, is it real? So I looked it up, and it actually has its own Wikipedia page.
Oh.
So this genre is called Family Saga. So what do you think when you hear Family Saga?
Family.
Yeah.
Families, yeah.
Just in general, families.
Just in general, yeah.
Well, do you want to share with everybody what Wikipedia actually says Family Saga is?
Yes. Shout out to Wikipedia. This is for you. The Family Saga is a genre of literature which chronicles the lives and doings of a family or a number of related or interconnected families over a period of time. But Bethany, I have to ask, what about Family Sagas appeals to you?
I think two things. Like, the first is that I can actually relate to it in some way. So, like, whether it's, you know, siblings or a cousin dynamic, maybe it's, like, daughter and parent, maybe it's a marriage. You know, I do have boys now, so sometimes, like, the mother-son thing can get me a little bit. And I've also found some of them, like, deal with grief a little bit, which, I don't know, for some reason that resonates a little bit with me personally. And, you know, so it's just a moment that makes you feel, like, less alone or maybe puts into words something that you've struggled with. And two, it teaches me about another culture. And I'm finding more and more that I enjoy reading and learning about cultures that are different from how I grew up or maybe where we currently live. And like my short list that I came up with for today actually has a couple books that fall into that category. So Are you ready?
I'm ready. Hit me.
Okay. So the first one I picked is called This Is Where I Leave You by Jonathan Tropper. And I think this might be one of the first ones. It was the first one that came to mind, and it's the first one I can think of that feels like a family saga to me, even though it's a little bit of a stretch because it doesn't have like that long period of time, like Wikipedia said. But it's basically a father passes away and his completely dysfunctional family comes back together to sit Shiva for 7 days and 7 nights. And chaos, in the way that only siblings with a true history can provide, ensues. So you have to have a sense of humor for this one. I had originally read this with some of my friends in New York, and I laughed so hard. I ended up reading all of his books, and I think they made a movie out of this one. I feel like they made a movie that like Tina Fey and some of them were in, but I'd have to look that up to remember. So I loved, he's a funny author. The next one I came up with is called The Last Romantics by Tara Conklin. And you might recognize this cover if you saw it, because I think I had done it with one of my book clubs. But this followed 4 siblings after the death of their father. I see a theme here, like
yeah.
The loss of a parent. But so you see them during their childhood, and you also watch like their mom's struggle. So like how the siblings band together because the mom is also struggling. But then 20 years later, there's like a family crisis that tests their bonds. So if I recall correctly, the book itself started in the future. So like a question and a night with the youngest sibling who's a famous poet, and she's like 102 years old.
Wow.
And she reveals during the Q&A that the inspiration for her iconic poem is actually the story of her family and of betrayal.
Ooh.
And then, as I say, a slow, beautiful burn.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it kind of starts at the end and then it goes back to the beginning, and you really get to know the family over that course of all those years.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then the next one, have you ever heard of the book Ask Again Yes by Mary Beth Keane?
No.
This was another one that my friends and I read together, and all I can say is we had a discussion about this one. We talked forever. Yes. So this one, it takes place, there's like these rookie New York Police Department cops, and they end up getting houses in the suburbs next door to each other, and that's where they raise their families. So like they have the friendship, but then their kids kind of fall in love, and then but what happens behind closed doors is like a whole nother story. And this was a book that actually tackled mental health and pregnancy issues, marriage, alcoholism. It dealt with a lot of stuff, and it spanned I believe it was like 30 years. Like it went on for a long time, and it was so well done. And the author had written it in a way where each character had the chance to kind of tell their story. And I was looking through my Goodreads and stuff, and I still had a quote saved from that book. Aww. And it says, "The thing is, Peter, grown-ups don't know what they're doing any better than kids do. That's the truth."
Oh, I don't know if I've heard anything so true in my life.
I'm telling you, it was really good. Okay, this one, I think I've mentioned it to you before in the library. I don't think we've said it on the podcast. But do you remember me pointing out a book called A Woman Is No Man?
Yes.
By Ita Frum?
Yeah, I do remember.
Okay, and I apologize if I pronounced that name wrong, but this book, it's still one of the ones that I have like a physical like sigh reaction to every time I see it sitting on the shelf or if somebody checks it out. I picked it up because, like I said earlier, I enjoy learning about other cultures. And this one, when I finished it, like I curled up on my side and was hugging the book because it was just so good. And I hate to steal from other sources, but Goodreads put it like just so succinctly. It says, it takes you inside the lives of conservative Arab women living in America. So the book itself, you have like family and familial relationships, but then you also have the arranged marriage, or arranged marriages, I should say, because you learn the main character's story, but also her mom's story. And I will say, I always try to do trigger warnings just in case this does deal with like domestic abuse. It has like a little bit of a darker side to one of the stories and stuff. So, but I have a few friends who read it, and we talked for a long time about this one, and they had a very similar reaction to mine. It was really interesting.
It sounds like one of those books that it brings up discussion and awareness about things.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, it's kind of one of those, I find it interesting. You know, I'm not in school anymore, so I'm not taking history class. So when you're reading something by an author who maybe understands the culture and is part of that culture or whatever, or has family that was part of that culture, they can write about it in a way that helps you maybe understand. Like arranged marriages is not a part of my family's history, and so I don't always understand. So to read it in a way that really puts you there and helps you understand maybe where they're coming from, and it's just so, it was really well done. Okay, my last one. I know you know this one. Mm-hmm. Pachinko.
I don't know why. I just like, when you say that title, I just like the way it sounds. Say it one more time.
Pachinko.
Thank you.
By Min Jin Lee. And I love this book. I did not expect to. I had picked this initially for one of my book clubs, and all of us were kind of like, yeah, okay, you know. And I was so sad when it ended, because it was kind of like, wait, but what happens to everybody now? So the book itself, it spans 4 generations. So it mainly takes place in Korea and Japan. And it starts in the early 1900s in like a small fishing town. And then it goes to like, I think it was around like the late 1980s. But it took me on just the greatest trip. And it's a story of like family and love and relationships, the sister-in-laws banding together, the fathers and sons, poverty, racism. I mean, this book had everything, and we just had the greatest discussion about it. And I looked up pachinko. I got to find out what it was. You can actually go check out like a pachinko parlor. Like there's cool videos where you can see people playing the game and stuff. But it's so interesting. So that was my list.
So was that the book that you read? And it was like really big.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah. And we do have the audiobook on Libby, and I did listen, and like the narrator is really good. So if you're curious, but the book looks like a little too much for you right now, as our reader who wrote in said, she likes to listen to stuff while she's walking, you could definitely get the audiobook and maybe use that when you're exercising or cooking or cleaning or whatever, because the narrator had a great voice and all that stuff. So, and if you're like me, I tend to butcher names and places, and I get frustrated when I don't know how to pronounce something. And especially if you're reading about something that you're unfamiliar with, you kind of question how to say things and whatever. So when you have a audiobook and you're listening to the narrator and it's like, oh, that's how they say that city's name. Oh, that's how that's pronounced. I love that. So that was, I kind of cheated a little bit and listened to part of the audio just to make sure that I was saying stuff correctly.
Gotcha.
So I think I had asked you, is there any like books that you can think of that might fall into this category? Because apparently it's my new wheelhouse.
Well, I think there's actually quite a bit that I've read.
Okay.
But like the first two that immediately popped up were like Little Women.
Yep.
That made me think, so
I know
Little
you
Men.
love Little Women.
I do. And then I think I don't know if this one would classify, but maybe The Wrong Family and that one's by Taryn Fisher.
Yeah.
And that's the one where like the lady, it's kind of like a thriller, but the lady is living upstairs in a house and the family doesn't know she's there. And because she thinks they're like the perfect family. And then she finds out all their secrets.
Mm.
And so
that's been getting checked out a lot too. I've seen a lot of her books getting checked out actually.
It's a good book. I don't know that it would fully be under Family Saga, but there's a little bit in there. I think that would classify. Okay. Awesome. So yeah.
I love it. All right. So what are you reading now, Sarah?
All right. So I don't know what episode, it was one of the last few that we brought up Riley Sager and Survive the Night, and it still just makes me so angry when I think about it. Well, he came out with another new book, and I think I'm only on page like maybe 12 or 17, and it's called The House Across the Lake. I am going in blind, so like I can't tell you what I can tell you what it's about so far, but I kind of don't want to.
What I can tell you without telling you anything about this book is that Sarah, it came in for her and she checked it out and she immediately read 2 pages.
Yeah.
And we had the first Sarah reaction. Oh my gosh, you guys.
Yeah. Okay. So I am very animated when I read.
So animated.
When I watch TV, when I watch movies, like just know it's never a dull moment when you're with me. And also the book opened up with a Taylor Swift quote. Don't ask me what the quote is because I don't remember, but I remember reading it and laughing because it was Taylor Swift. So I'm reading that, but then also I'm reading our next book club one for teens, which is The Raft, and that's by S.A. Bowden. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But I haven't started it, and my book club's in 2 weeks, so I have time. It's a short book, but just know that there's a girl and there's a raft. So there you go.
That's about all I know of it too, but I do know my kids finished it already.
Did they enjoy it?
So they're ready.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. What about you?
Okay, so I had just finished a book called Cultish, the language of I can't say it. Fanaticism. I can never say that word. I know. It's terrible. It's so dumb. But anyway, it's by Amanda Montell. And she was actually a theater major when she went to college, but then she became a linguist major. Ooh. And so her father apparently had never hid the fact from her that he was raised in a cult. And so she kind of had spent her whole life just as a curious person about all of this. And the book is all about wording and like love bombing. So for people like myself, if you're really interested in the solid psychology of things that you just don't understand, this was exactly what I was looking for. There are mentions of, Kool-Aid and specific groups or whatever, but it also talks about stuff I wasn't expecting. So like social media gurus, because that's a thing now. Yeah. Okay. And MLMs. And like, I'll tell you, if you do end up reading it, you will never look at SoulCycle or like a sales pitch on like somebody's Facebook page. The same again.
I want to read it.
I was really surprised. So, and then the other one is actually the reason that we ended up talking about family sagas today. So this one is called The Last Summer at the Golden Hotel, and it's by Alyssa Friedland. And it was an absolute comfort read for me. So it takes place in the Catskills, like in a kind of like a Dirty Dancing hotel type place. And the very first page had a quote from Max Kellerman. So if you do know the Dirty Dancing movie, you know who I'm talking about. But the family owns, the hotel, and, so you kind of see it in its heyday, but then you see it later when it's sort of falling apart and these families are trying to figure out what they're supposed to do about it. And so the families, the backdrop, the writing, it was exactly what I needed that weekend. And I just enjoyed it so much. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait, is this a thing? And that's how I ended up looking up Family Saga.
Fun.
Yeah. So, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Did you have anything else?
I definitely just added some books to my want to read pile.
I love it.
For sure.
Cool. Well, keep me posted when you read them.
Yes, of course.
Awesome. All right, guys. So we are out of here until next month. And remember, if you ever have thoughts about our conversations or you just want to maybe get a shout out on the podcast, you can always send us an email at themulberrylibrary@gmail.com. And until August, happy reading, Mulberry.
Bye.
Bye.